I said that I sympathize with the reason why many of the Republicans want to turn the ideology on its head entirely. That many of the Republicans are already an East Coast uh, urban cosmopolitan misrepresentation of the Americans who are seeking reform in the immigration system as well as the criminal justice system, the way that we deal with vagabonds also. If there wasn't this giant disorder in your system of public records, the way to deal with the problem would be manifest. The government always, in the same way that they try to establish a church, they want to say who can vote. They want to say who is a citizen. The government does not decide who is a citizen. The individual landowner is the point of order of the whole society. In essence, you choose a landowner. Our society, unless you have another way of doing it, which you have not proven. Landowner uh, the landowner decides who can immigrate, who can seek uh, asylum in America. If you want to keep asylum seekers in government custody until they find a landowner willing to house them, it should be relatively simple in Canada or America to find a landowner because they own 500 acres out in the middle of nowhere to house your entire tribe fleeing from some war zone in a trailer park because there's a landowner who has 100 acres out there he's not using, and the rent would be relatively cheap, and that should be relatively easy. And if you can't make a deal with even one landowner in America, you probably have some hostility to American society. But again, it's not a question for the government to answer. It should be encoded in law. 10 years of residency, and you become an American citizen, and you have to make a deal with a landowner. And if that landowner is themselves not law abiding, then they can't house refugees. And if a refugee who commits a crime is at that landowner's state, then that landowner has to be held accountable, and those immigrants have to be deported. The problem is that you don't have a lower court. Your government is confusing a civil violation against the utility with a small criminal violation, a misdemeanor. A traffic violation is not a misdemeanor. A traffic violation is a violation of a civil contract with the state. This is the same thing for a vagabond. If you, as a town, make the homeless person aware that he is violating the contract, the rules of the road by staying in the road in one place for too long, then you tell them the county misdemeanor circuit district court of the state, they issue the civil order in advance to stop the civil violation once the contract is broken, and then there is a misdemeanor trial where the vagabond can be brought to a mutually agreeable community. When you get community service at a misdemeanor court, both the court and the subject of the decision have to agree on the institution. Foreign immigrants, it's a relatively simple proposition. You can just the sentence is just to kick them out. For these guys who like to be scary, many of them are American citizens who are, white Teutonic white bread Arabs, who are, the Caucasians who are called German according to ancient, classically racist laws of the Holy Roman Empire. People who like to conflate being European with being white, and they have either a pagan or a Muslim cryptic occult manner of being scary. And if somebody likes to be threatening in a way where you say, well, they didn't menace or begin to do violence, but they were intentionally scary in a way that deprives people of their resources and is in effect a theft, you can have a misdemeanor trial to take away this person's guns, right? You don't need a huge burden of proof for a misdemeanor conviction, the sentence for which is you don't get to have a gun. So the county level court system is a branch of the state court, and it needs to be working on these smaller level criminal convictions. For instance, I think that anybody who hunts foxes or anybody who kills raccoons or monkeys should get community service for a long time. Again, it is just another uh, hostile, menacing, scary, threatening thing that men do because it scares women around them. If you want to remand these people who you call crazy to psychological institutions which have nothing to do with medicine, as I keep reminding you, you need to get a misdemeanor conviction so that they can be remanded to their choice of court approved community service institutions. This is not a hospital except in the Teutonic Caucasian pagan gibberish of the original German racism. It has nothing to do with medicine. Psychiatry is a dead field that nobody needs or uses anymore. They want to put these people under the observation of a psychologist who can ascertain what kind of chemical urges are entering into their brain that make them want to, for some reason, hunt a fox. It threatens and terrorizes the whole community. And what they need to do is take it to the county detective, the county prosecutor, and the county court to get a misdemeanor conviction with a relatively low burden of proof so that you can remand this person to a psychological community service institution mutually agreeable to the court and to the subject so that you can take away their guns, obviously, if you have them with a misdemeanor conviction, or kick them out of the country if they are immigrants who have not been here long enough to achieve citizenship or lived in the society of an American company or family long enough to achieve citizenship.